Isaiah chapter 40, verse 1 and 2. Isaiah chapter 40, verse 1 and 2. It says that, someone there read verse 1.
Isaiah 40,
Verse 1 and 2.
verse 1 and 2.
Yes.
Comfort ye, my people, says your God.
Yes.
Speak ye comfortably to Jerusalem, and cry unto her.
That's enough. Yeah. When Isaiah was given a message, by that time Jerusalem were worshiping other gods around them. So Isaiah was actually, he was saying, speak gently. Yeah. Don't be rude. Speak to them gently. It's extremely important to realize that you guys being here is a miracle on its own. I'm very sure if you read deep in the Bible, you'll discover that there are so many forces that would stop you from coming. But God, in His mercy, He held those angels in check. And so, I thank God for the privilege given to me to share with you the words of our Lord Jesus Christ. I was looking at this month of July, that honestly speaking, the Lord has been good to me, that I've been on pulpit 3 times in different locations.
Amen.
I was in Mukono, I was at Central Church in Barra. This is the 3rd time. When I was looking at my program in August, the president is not here, but the vice president had stopped me from speaking, but I'm going to speak it. So he refused me. And you will forgive me, because I'm going to commit it after asking forgiveness, right? Yeah. Next Sabbath we have, they had told us the MUST-SDA guys had wanted the entire MUST-SDA, but they gave us the program late when we had already painted out hours. So by the time they gave us the date, 6th of August, it was impossible to tell MUST-SDA right now to get into a bus next Sabbath to go to MUST-SDA. The idea was they wanted us to connect MUST-SDA and MUST-SDA and as institutions. So we're going to get a few of us next Sabbath to go to MUST-SDA, and still I'm the preacher. Yeah, others will come and teach in the afternoon or in the morning. But I'll be the preacher. And then the following Sabbath, I have a friend of mine, she's called Stella, she's the wife to our chaplain, Pastor Benon Chigono. They gave me a program at KCC after the next Sabbath. So still I've been in Kampala preaching. And I discovered that I think it's something that the Lord wants me to do in the long run. Because He gives it all the time. And as long as He provides minimum support, we shall surely do that. We're going to go into our message today. What does the future hold? I read from N. White in PK, Patriarchs and Kings, Prophets and Kings, 6:26, that whenever you stand on the pulpit, you reserve as much as possible your opinion. Yeah, you tend to let the Bible speak so that you don't put scriptures out of context. Yeah. With me here, I have 2 things. Who can tell me what this is? What is this? Yeah?
A nut.
A nut? I don't want to ask answers. Feel free to own your mistake. Just raise up and can I say yes? Jackfruit? Okay. You guys are looking for yes.
I own it, a nut.
A nut? Which other simpler answer can you give? Huh? A seed. It's a seed. Of whatever plant it may be, it's a seed. What can you see beyond this seed? A tree? But can you see it now? Where is the future of this seed? It's inside it. Once given environment, conducive, like warm, this is P4 science. So, yeah, even you guys in BBA, you can still remember this. They're saying, he has brought the science back. This is, that inside it is power to become a tree. And beyond a tree, you can find a forest in this one thing. Now, nature has a principle in life. And the moment we see things, we can know life. It takes an eye of faith to look at these two seeds and we say forest. And let me tell you something, once given time and opportunity, it can become a tree and a forest. Why am I saying this? Each of us here has a dream. And once given time and opportunity, you don't know what you can become. And that is how the Lord perceives humanity. It takes out of faith to see a child born from what? 1 day old, and see a president. Then the world and God in His providence nurtures this child to become the president. Let me tell you, each of us here, we come from families, and we dream that family. I've always said that when the parents are sending you to school, they say, "Go, our small Jesus. All our hopes are in you." Yeah, but unfortunately, when we come here, we may try to think that we are common, and no, we are not. Each of us has a dream and has a family. That family makes you know that you guys, all our confidence is in you. We have 15% Uganda is a part of the 15% in Uganda. And today, in this sharing, the question is, what does the future hold? We're going to see what the future holds. And then it's upon you and me to decide, to take a stand and decide. Yes, there's a quotation here, which I found very much useful. Our dear president is not here, Dr. Roland. I wanted to extend my sincere gratitude to them for giving me an opportunity to share. I was not very sure when my corrected date of the birthday. I don't know, it's between 25th and 27th. So I've been getting messages from Facebook, from 26th from the banks, and some give me data, and 27th from friends. So I'm not very sure. Yeah, but at least must be between that range. And on the birthday occasion, the children should be taught that they have reason for gratitude to God for His loving kindness in preserving their lives for another year. We are indebted to the giver of all mercies, and it is due to God to recognize His gifts and to present our offerings of gratitude to our greatest benefactor. These birthday gifts are recognized of heaven. Yeah, today, when someone gets a BD, it is a common practice. I've never put pen on my status in a BD. Yeah, I think if I've never done it, I think I've forgotten. Yeah, but when you read this, when you get another new year, it is a privilege to be thankful to God to show you that the previous year was hell. Guys, previous year would have died in the Old Testament. It was bad. And COVID wrote and made it worse. So when this year comes and you get another year, the inspiration says you give a gift to God to known to shine. When Brother Kufur said that we should make a cake, you know, they're using this to make this sweetener, the icing sugar. They use phenylalanine, that's the sweetest amino acid. Yeah, and when the body receives it, you remember amino acids are absorbed in the ileum, right? So you're putting them in the mouth. There's a lot of spiking of insulin, thinking it's a carbohydrate, yet it's not. So you get diabetes. Because of reading that history and science, we say, okay, majority may do it, I may not do it. But I have no problem with those who do it. So, economy being bad, we didn't get the cake. But at least I'll give my gift to the Lord. I'll give my half of my salary. I'll give 2 million to the medical camp as my birthday gift to the Lord. Amen. And I've done that publicly. To give you an example, the next time when your birthday reaches, don't not only shine on WhatsApp. Give something to God, even if it's 10K. Tell God, I'm happy, Lord. Thank you. It is the correct way of doing it. The world, put you on status, make you. Let heaven get a reason to add you another full year. After all, the increment came unexpectedly. We thought it could be corrupted. Okay, we shall pray, then we come to the message. Our God, human beings, we have a habit of exalting self whenever we stand before the pulpit. It is only your grace to help us. We are sinners. I'm struggling, you know that. I'm not in any way different. And so I plead for the Holy Spirit to make this message clear to me and my friends. Lord, we thank you because you have already answered that prayer. In Jesus' name we have prayed. Amen. I'm going to use the theme for our camp meeting. Ideally, we had to be the camp meeting with the Central Church people. But unfortunately, we failed. So I'll try to make sure that I bring the same theme that we are using in camp meeting. This is, I'll go with the everlasting gospel in which country? Uganda. I want to tell you something small about our country, Uganda, today. And then you shall know what I'm about to do when I'm going with this everlasting gospel. And in this sharing, we're just going to learn what is an everlasting gospel. Because Paul got a challenge when so many people were misrepresenting the gospel. Yeah. Paul was the greatest teacher after Christ, and the second person who suffered most after Christ. Some of the biographies. He had a PhD in law, and was educated in one of the best universities by then. So he was intelligent. You can trust his things. Physically, live around the Bible. Historically, he was smart. In Uganda, they tell us today that our population is increasing in that trend. By 2014, we were around 34. 2022, we are 48. Now, based on that trend, we can qualify our information and give a conclusion that by 2050, we're going to be 100. Just based on that trend. This is reliable data for the last 6 years. This implies that people are living more healthy, they're having food, and they are living well. So by 2050, we are going to be 100 million people. And because of the better health services, our lifespan is going to also increase. Absolutely true. Our average age in Africa today is 19 years old. Most of us are youth. And in Uganda, it's between 25 to 35. We have not seen any other regime. So I'm right. And now this means that as our trained people live longer, our rate of population is increasing at 2 to 3%. 2.1 million children are being born every year, and only 1% die. Only 1%. Which implies that we are going to live. So people are saying that maybe the world may end in 2017, maybe. If it doesn't end, we're going to be 100. What does that imply to you? This is true information 25 days ago. Blessed Sacrament Mayanja, the students were suspended from school for violence. And this was the reason. They said that there was less food, beans weren't flight. Yeah. And the teachers were overbeating them. So they had to strike and they suspended. Now, 3 of other schools in Masaka has done the same thing, including fire. As our population size increases, also the crime rate. And if the things are starting from schools, then we must know where we are heading. Because these students from school, all of us came from schools, am I right? That's why when it comes to university, striking is the only way to beg for rights. Yeah, which is biblically not correct. It's not. Now, Mara High School suspends all senior for even this one has just happened recently. Violence, the senior sixes and senior fours went and went around with the senior ones. Took off the material, they stole all the chocolates, all the biscuits from the suitcase, just various. Yeah, to welcome them. And they are suspended also. Now, if this is in scientists, and that one alone is going to mean that from today, 10 to 20 years from now, 10 to 20, we are going to have so many people opting sciences. That's in the pressure. And now what would be the best investment if you to make one? You do medical schools. Why? Many people are going to join themselves, many, by logic. And there's going to be pressure on these schools, there will be few. So if you're some business person here, that's a clear point of investment. That's a 10 to 20 year plan. And guess what? One of the things I see that has capability for us to have our message clearly given is when you own a medical school, and all the students meet every Saturday in your own facility to pay you money and you teach them the Bible. That's a very clear good investment for a child of God, because people are paying for them to come at a place than going door to door. Something like this already, they are begging for more. Some guys took the 100 billion and they're saying that's not enough. But this calamity that we have today, these things are happening in our country, not America. Meaning that it takes someone with an eye to see, if I saw a seed and I saw a forest, then if I see these things, what does it communicate to me and you? My government school is in Masaka, and we had a meeting on Thursday. We had students whom we wanted to suspend for homosexuality. Yeah, 2 boys. And the school had resolved, including the diocese, that we chase these students away. When they read the minutes and the resolution that was made, I said, wait a minute. Where are we sending them to go to which school now? Number 2, how sure are we that these people are just a product of the seed in the school? We have removed the leaves, but the roots have remained. Don't you think there's another approach that we could possibly use? Because that's what I've realized. Human beings, the world, how it solves its problems. If someone today steals a border, the devil moves on the brains of these people to cause mob justice. You just want to kill him right away. But the truth of the matter is, if this person is taken to prison, is preserved and is seizing mistake can change. That's why police is important. Extremely important. Now, if people are dying of hunger, for you have what to eat, thank God. In a village setting, where people don't have access to food, to money, and they are dying of hunger. Because diesel, most of the long vehicles use diesel, so they must be lower so that food is cheaper. And so, that's why we shall find today cost of 4,500 together with rice. That one alone shows you that it's a crisis. And what does this communicate to you and me, who are Christians today? Things are not just happening. That's a lie. On a broad perspective, me and you need to sit down and think if this is happening today in this manner. What's going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years? I had a plan of 10 years ago, 1 year to finish it. Meaning that if you sit down again and make a plan of another 10 years, you'll be shocked. It is just tomorrow. 10 years today looks to be very far. But if you don't focus on what you are today, and you focus on what you're going to be tomorrow, I bet you, the future that you want to hold is in us right now. The future in this seed, it is in its capability to utilize the conducive environment to grow into a big tree. When a tree is growing, sometimes when you make phone calls, long phone calls, you go outside, you even start picking the leaves. As you speak on phone, you pick the leaves. This tree must struggle to ensure that it grows no matter the injuries you're causing to it. Innocently, you pick the leaves, you pick the flowers as you speak on phone. Why? This tree must ensure that it lives. Why? When this mango tree grows and bears good fruits, all the people of the community will stand up and say, if a rich man comes up and buys the entire place, the community will say, please preserve that tree. It brings out good fruits. But it must struggle to ensure that it grows, no matter the people picking leaves from it when it's still young. And that is life. You and me should know. I'll give an example. If you fail a paper, the principle of nature says, you don't pray about it has happened. Don't pray about it. It's like someone who prays to God after seeing results. This is how you start praying to God. No, yes, a long prayer. Yes, God, help me face whatever is coming. When you find it, you say, okay, well, that's what happened. If I've done this and that has happened before, right? How do I go about it? It was this guy called Abraham Lincoln who wanted to be the president of USA. For 28 years, he used to fail. He became a president in 1960, but he started to have that dream in 22. What does it imply? He failed to the very best, but he rose up again. Sickness. We watched last time, as my brother says, and I was, for the first time I feared. It was my first time to be in a theater. Getting your eye, they make a incision on the eye, they insert in the lens, and they close it back. Now, to you, you just get a little organism in the eye and you feel like dying. But what the nature has brought, that everywhere you have a piece of metal. No wonder the psalmist say in Psalms 90 verse 12, teach us to number our days, that we may apply our wisdom unto life. Let me tell you something. Your heart is pumping today, but it's going to get tired. And time will come when you need a supplement. This is the fact of life. It may not happen today. They normally say that people want to look in the future. I like the Jesuits. Yeah, Ignatius Loyola had a 100-year plan, even when he knew he was going to die. And right now it is this plan working. Why? WHO is controlling the entire world. COVID was manufactured, it wasn't caused. Because Jesuits are false prophets, they can predict the future. They predicted Ukraine and Russia war. Why? Putin owns 75% of the country's resources as an individual. So he has the capacity to say, I'm not saying oil to Uganda. Now if these guys are smart and sit in the community and determine and make things happen, it implies that what the Lord has given us today is the brain to know 10 years and 20 years from now, what am I going to be doing? Today we are students, but I want to tell you the truth. Time for school runs so fast that before you know it, you're done. And if I don't have a sense of direction, it's going to be difficult for me to know where we are heading. Who causes all these things? Of course, it's Satan. In Isaiah 14, verse 12 to 14, I will just read the first statement. How you are fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning. Now, this is the question. How has these things happened? I know the history, you know very well what happened in heaven. And even angels, and God himself is asking, how has these things come about? This thing called sin, how? I mean, I don't know, how come? When we read the down verses, they say, for thou hast said in your heart, mind you, the devil didn't make a crusade and convince the other angels, no. He had it in his heart to fail the government of God, and for him he acted behind. It has always been the devil's plan to bring calamities, pain, and suffering to humanity, but indirectly. Always. When heaven said, how has this thing come about? This is the question. I will. Actually, some commentators say that if Lucifer had said, but he said, I will. If someone says, I will, he has made a commitment that I will do it. Give it time. If Lucifer said, I can, it means that you have the potential to do it, but at the same time you can say, let me leave it. After I can do it. The devil said, I will become like God. And of course, he couldn't leave. There's a quotation here. This was in our lesson's quotation. I got someone to read for us. Yes.
It says, in accidents and calamities, by sea and land, in conflagrations, in fierce tornadoes, and terrific hailstorms, in tempests, floods, cyclones, tidal waves, and earthquakes, in every place and in 1,000 forms, Satan is exercising his power. He sweeps away the ripening harvest and famine, and disgrace follow. He imparts to the air a deadly taint, and a thousand are to become more and more frequent and disastrous.
Thank you. The quotation is saying that these visitations have become more and more frequent. Make no mistake to think that tomorrow may be better. No, today is better than tomorrow. And if me and you, we don't plant, you know, during Joseph's time when he became a prime minister, people paid money to get food, and when the money got done, he told them, give us your land, we'll give you raw food. Make no mistake to think that, well, it's important, but we can live. What the Lord gives us whenever he gives us any wisdom is to tell us something is coming. When you read Jerusalem, the destruction of Jerusalem, what God gave his children in times like this, he gave them a sign. He told them, when you see these things, when you see the Roman guys coming, abomination of desolation, leave the city. Prayers will not work. I want to guarantee you today that if we don't read the word of God and know what are they doing, if those who were able to watch Mr. President's speech last time, what was the first point he made for the resolution of the economy? He said climate change. Yeah, that was the point. The Pope's frequent statements have always been climate change. We know what this guy who has just won the award for the richest guy, Elon Musk, beating Jeff Bezos, the owner of Amazon. As a reward, you got it from the Pope. You go to Twitter and see. You can't shine when you're not part of them. Then for us at the back at the mind, we say, I want to be like Elon Musk. You can't be. This guy is helped by the Jesuits. It is true he ventured Facebook. He bought WhatsApp. That is true. And he earns all the money. Right now, his wife is called Priscilla. She's a pediatrician. She has left work, and they are coming up with another new project that they believe is going to be useful to humanity. And guess you know what? They are going to make a lot of money from it. Why? They are the biggest system. When the Bible says that all these calamities, accidents, whenever, I want you to see this principle today. Whenever you see an accident, behind it there was Satan. Behind that accident, behind you losing your sponsor, behind any pain that is caused, there's a devil behind it. That's what the expression says. He works within his power. He can even cause a calamity. I thanked God last night when we had some rain. When we go to our places like Masaka, people in villages were praying. There was no harvest. And let me tell you something. Even if you're very rich, if you are buying, look at your parents who are rich. What they prioritize in is agriculture. They don't want to buy food. Because everyone, every day, even after here, we must eat. Meaning, it's a must do something. That you and me should sit down and know it's going to happen. Yes. This was Brother Job. In our lesson, Job got all the problems you can ever read. Job 1:20 to 21. Someone can read very fast.
Verse 20.
Yes.
Chapter 1, verse 14. Then Job arose and rent his mantle and shaved his head and fell down upon the ground and worshipped.
Yes.
And said, Naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord.
Thank you. After realizing that most of the hardships we go through in life are caused by Satan, you can easily tell God, I don't know. I don't understand this, but I trust you. When the Bible says that someone is rich and is mentioned in the Bible doesn't just speak riches. You must have been loaded. Job was damn rich that if he hears information per information, if you read the very well the story, the devil could kill all of them and leave one for witness. You can't tell him I've done this. You can't tell him I've done this. You can develop hypertension. You can die. When this guy recently, Peter Patrick, was challenged of signing $10 million US by mistake, and they told him that we're taking your Sky's hotel. Man, he went to his lawyer and said, man, this has been my lifetime. Save it. This was Brother Job. And I want you to listen very well the statements of a Christian. Because you think this statement is easy to make. It is not easy. You've been terminated for a course you've struggled for. It is not easy. We have our friend in our class. She got an accident and she lost the food to her. She applied for a DDR. And ask yourself, what did she do? Me and you who has been able to finish the course, whom do you think you are? It has all been by the grace of God. Otherwise, I made a statement from the start and I told you, If there was capacity and the devil could be given a chance for you, you will not live. Every day we are indebted to God to thank Him for protection and His mercy, even when we are not good. If we reflect in our lives and we see calamities happening with our friends, we ask ourselves, maybe I would have been the one there. There's a child who was born without a lens from the beginning. He can't see. Now there was a conversation between Peter and John. This is the theme now. If you've been interested, we are finishing. Yeah. You'll understand after. We have only three PowerPoints to read. Am I lying, sir? Say no. No, I. Okay, only 3. Okay, John 13, verse 38. This was interesting. John 13, verse 38. Someone can read this. Let's just read for me.
Jesus answered him,
Yes.
Wouldst thou lay down thy life for my sake?
Mm-hmm.
Verily, verily, I say unto you,
Yes.
the cock shall not crow till thou hast denied me thrice.
Now, Peter had said, Peter told him that I want to be in position to die. Then Peter said, no, this cannot be. I can even be there for you, Jesus. You know me very well. I'm short-tempered. You know, even in heaven, by the personality will be preserved. Peter will be short-tempered. Gives fast answers. When Jesus said, who has touched me in the crowd? He was like, but are you normal? Is it possible? These are people many. How can you say that? Jesus is a gentleman. He said, well, Peter, I know you. I know you. Because I must work with you. Yeah. He tells him that you're going to deny me 3 times. Now, you remember that this Bible that we have today it's not the Bible, it's a translation. So in the original, when this guy if Peter is to come back to life right now, he will get shocked to see numbers in the Bible. For them, they just had scrolls, like a statement and a story flowing. Yeah. And these guys, the Archbishop of Canterbury, were the guys intelligent to inserting these chapters. So when they were inserting in chapters, they didn't have a particular reason. They could just estimate. What's up? Chapter 14. So if someone comes and reads John 14, let not your heart be troubled. Believe in God and believe also in me. It is a motivation verse. You can read someone who is not doing well and he feels comfortable, right? But when you read John 13, 38, and then you connect it with John 14, verse 1. John 14, verse 1. Just continue.
Let not your heart be troubled.
Yes.
You believe in God, believe also in me.
Thank you. I want you to see this expression now. Having laid down the principle of how we're reading this verse, it is a continuation from verse 11, 38. It's a continuous to 14, verse 1. So the continuation is, after Christ telling Peter that you're going to betray me even before the cock. Now, Peter felt bad. He said, no, I can't. Sincerely. Peter was sincere. When James and John were walking with Jesus and the guys of Samaritan chased them, rejected them, James and John said, Jesus, we have seen you pour fire from heaven and burn them. People don't know what they're playing with. And then Christ told them, you don't know the depths of your wickedness. Me and you, we don't know how weak we are until when we expose it. And Peter said, no, I feel I'm going to betray, it's bad. Jesus immediately says, let not your heart be troubled, because you're going to do it. In my Father's mansion, there are seats for people like you. That is what this verse means. It doesn't comfort you when you're poor. No. It's not a comforting verse. That God Himself knows, yes, patience. Read for us.
In my father's house,
Yes.
I believe mansions.
Mm-hmm.
If it were not so, I would have told you.
Yes.
I go to prepare a place for you.
Mm.
And if I go and prepare a place for you,
Yes.
I will come again and receive you unto my.
Speaking these words to someone who is going to betray him. Comrades, Jesus was strong. Have you ever been at work when you see your colleague reports you every time to your boss, whatever mistake you make in class, when you come to the staff room, you still cheer up. How's it going? Have you got breakfast? We can't get for you. Today, the battle that's existing is between science teachers and arts teachers. And when they are marking some papers, they will be moving around. Eh? They say that in your name, they will be doing like this. Why? Because the government has not favored them. Whatever has caused that, or whatever brings that, is Satan. So the attack should not be on any science teacher as an individual. Actually, the only solution the country do have is to kneel down and tell God to curb the cause from the effect. What was the origin of Job's suffering? Was it his friends? No, it was a conversation from heaven that God mentioned about Job. Actually, the mistake was we had to blame God, not even Satan, because God who brought them. Yeah. Yeah, he was on other people, not even Job. Then God somehow mentions Job. So he says, that's what I had loved him, but now the problem is you. You've given protection. Me and you, God will mention your name one day. Yeah. And then God mentions your name. You know that there are these verses, there are these, how many things you normally sing? Is my name written there? You call your name. But the good news is, at the end of the chapter, you know, when you read the biography of Peter, he was a struggler. And after, when the rich young ruler came to Christ, he said, who can help me? Because you can't do anything. The guy said, keep the law. Then the lawyer is like, no, I've kept these things from you, sir. He said, no, cancel what you have and come back. Live a selfless life. The rich young ruler said, I wish you told me that you don't want me in heaven. That is impossible. Now Christ said, when they had, Christ said that it would be very easy for a what? Camel. And when Peter heard it, said, then who's going to be saved? Because even me standing here, I'm waiting for my reward. Actually, when you read down, Peter came and asked Jesus, we left all our things. What's your plan? Jesus said, we left all these things and we came for you. What do you have for us? And God told them, no one who has ever left anything will not gain both in this world and that to come. Listen, it was in this world and that to come. Now in here, when Peter gets grieved by what he's about to do, even when he's not conscious, Jesus gives him comfort immediately. Don't worry, I have this sorted. This is the principle. In Christianity, we don't do things to gain salvation. No. Actually, every day, the Lord has taught me this. That we don't come to church so that we are saved, you know. We come to church because we are already saved. So we want to behave as people who are saved. You and me, our perspective over people who are struggling to come to church must change. Why? Salvation is not constrained to the Ten Commandments. It is obedience to the law that confirms our surety. But even its obedience alone is the grace of God. Your perspective when you find someone who has completely left us. There are some first years who came here only for the introduction. They never came back. And I don't know what is your perspective when you find them. What's your attitude? Find someone who failed. Those people left, they are going to hell. We're going to heaven. That Adventist was saying last time, I can't eat that fork. Why? Someone used it, was eating pork. Well, even an Adventist, haven't you ever tested it? Which way did you have that now because you no longer test it? You're going. When we learn this, we learn how Jesus dealt with sinners. He made sure that doing right and doing good to them was a principle. When you read the book Desire of Ages, page 86, it tells the childhood of Christ, that Christ used to see families in their colleagues at their young age who didn't have what to eat. You know, Christ said that the poor will always be with us. And he said, Mom, my food, don't mind, you might have less food, because Jesus used to have no money. But my food, divide it. There's a friend of mine who doesn't have. The quotation says, he never bothered whether it's not a Jew or a Samaritan, never. As long as by virtue of a human being, he used to help him. Let me tell you something. Whenever you do good, you feel good. We do have a God who doesn't judge us, but he says, but now you can try again. Yeah. God does those things. Let me give you one example, then leave this place. Do you remember a girl called Rahab? Yes, let's go to Joshua. Dr. Patience, run very fast to Joshua chapter 2, verse 2. You read up to verse 9. But you wait until your conscience tells you that people have reached there. Joshua is in the Old Testament, guys. 2 to 9. Okay, you just jump. Go to verse, you read 2, you read chapter 2, then you stop. Chapter 4, I'll be telling you. Start with chapter 2.
Chapter 2, verse 2.
Yes.
And it was told the king of Jericho,
Yes.
saying, Behold, there came men in hither tonight of the children of Israel to search out their country.
By size. There are so many scholars today who have tried to excavate the place because this was a huge city. Now it had suburbs that people who weren't very rich used to stay on the boundary outside the city actually. Those who were damn rich, Canaan, where you find Jericho. So when the spies come, they find a harlot, Rahab. Now I want you to see someone who will consider that this person is bad, what he does to strangers. Verse 4.
Verse 4.
Yes.
And the woman took the 2 men and hid them.
Yes.
And said thus, There came men out to me, but I wist not whence they were.
Thank you. Rahab comes, says, well, now let me first give you the history behind Rahab. Rahab had a family. She was the breadwinner for all the entire family by her professional work. So she was doing whatever she was doing just to live. When you move in Imbarar town around 8 p.m., when you're heading to Mayanja in the roundabout, you find some friends of ours there around 8. I don't think I've ever seen the prostitutes that side. Don't look so holy. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. When you look at them, your first attitude is passive. So she had a bar. From that bar, they would buy her a night, just like these people are making chips, eh? Because they can buy chips together with a person. And then it is very easy for you to say, they are sinners. When the strangers came, now, they said that Rahab was a reader. Dr. Muro, Rahab was a reader. He had read about Israelites. So when these guys came, in her mind he said, I have heard. Read verse 9.
Verse 9. And she said unto the men,
Yes.
I know that the Lord hath given you the land,
Listen to the words of the harlot.
and that your terror is fallen upon us.
Perfect. Yes, verse 10.
For we have heard how the Lord dried out the water of the Red Sea for you
Exactly.
when you came out of Egypt.
First was there. Rahab was struggling, but was hearing some rumors. Just like we have some friends in our classroom, who knows about us? Did you know? Last time I wanted to correct Sunshine, but the time didn't allow. The sinner, the chief, the other thief on the cross, had heard about Christ, but was still stealing. Yeah. And when the time came like Saul's, it was a confrontory test. That's why he said, for us we are sinners, but this man has not done anything. He had heard about him. Listen to me, friends. This is a very practical message. You and me, my Christianity will be shown how we deal with people whom we think they are not good to us, whom we even perceive. Today our attitude must completely change. Why? Me and you are also struggling. If I do something wrong, and then you take it, there's this thing, apprentice. Who do you think he is? He's a human being. You make him uncomfortable. And let me tell you, for us, by profession, as doctors, we are meant to. That is what you call an.
And as soon as we had heard these things,
Yes.
our hearts did melt.
Mm-hmm.
Neither did there remain any more courage in any man.
Yes.
Because of you. For the Lord your God
Mhm.
is God in heaven and above, and in earth beneath.
Now I want you to listen to the prayer of Rahab. First of all, that's the prayer.
Now therefore,
Yes.
I pray you,
Yes.
swear unto me by the Lord,
Mm-hmm.
since I have shewed you kindness,
Yes.
that you will also shew kindness unto my father's house,
Mm-hmm.
and give me a taste of him.
Thank you. Guys, our time is going, and I want to respect time. Our someone has another section, but time was not allowed. I want us to end with this Rahab and the other prostitute in John. When Rahab said, when you guys come, I may not have a lot of literacy, a lot of literature concerning a lot of green, white, and Bibles, but all I can do is to hide you. Let me hide you from those guys. Let me just do good, in other words. What will show my Christianity is how I treat others. It's extremely important to know that people will never understand the verses I know until when I truly show them the kindness. When your friends come for lectures, when your friends come for coursework they didn't do, you first said them you are always lazy, always late. Or you just say, well, this is another thing. You can share. You go through if you want, then you submit. Or you are very strict. Must be the greatest person on this earth. So they should be peaceful. It is not right, neither is it good. Because Ahab, a harlot, does something good without knowing prophecy. He says, well, I'm going to do this. But in case it happened, because I know it will happen, please do this for me. And can I tell you a secret? They say, psychology has it that we normally fall in love with people around us. It's psychological. And during the discussions, an elder fall in love with Rahab. Now, if you are the pastor by that time, can you communicate? Can you announce that marriage? Comrades, you first bring a quotation. What am I going to say? If Eric was here, he was going to crucify me. The truth is, I want you to see who married Rahab. Go to Matthew chapter 1. Some of you don't look at me shows that you don't know. Matthew 1, verse 5. We finish. Time is going. Yes. That's fine.
And Solomon begat boys of Rachel.
Yeah, Rahab is the Hebrew word. It was Rahab. It was the Hebrew name. Yes.
And was begat Obed of
Yes.
Ruth.
Thank you. Obed begat who?
And Obed begat Jesse.
Who was the father of David? Say yes.
Jesse.
Good. Are you seeing that if the Jews had become Christ deals with us this way? Because he knows behind our weaknesses there's a spirit. It is not us. You may produce a son, you may have a child who is very stubborn, and only your hard work. Class, what Godwin, he's doing pharmacy. He was a stubborn student. I called him in my office. I said, it was my first year of work. He said, Master, me these things of games, I don't like them. They will know, let me tell you something. It's not about liking. No. The guy was stubborn. He used not to read. He could get in Master, what? Truly speaking, I wanted to go for mechanic. Because these things are difficult. He performed and was given here MLS. Guess what? The guy then got pharmacy. He's in year one and he's the happiest. I remember when we met Brother Kawalia on the station. By then I was still driving my taxi in Welcome. There's nothing I've not done, man. And I'm still doing others. I told Kawalia, do you know that there's a loan scheme? He said, yes, it is a loan scheme. I applied for my sister Ida and him. My sister didn't get, he got. I even didn't know that it was an Adventist. It was David who brought him to me. And guess what? When you do that, actually I discover that one of the things Christianity can do best is to be good. Be good, do what you're meant to do. When you can't do something, just keep quiet and move on. Because you don't know. God looks at the harlot and sees the pastor. Yeah. For you seeing a harlot, you see death. For him, your perspective over life is completely different. Actually, now this verse makes meaning, which is in Isaiah 55 verse 8. My ways are higher than what? Your ways. God's thoughts are completely different. And the only way to incorporate yourself in this state, you do good and say, God, I didn't know, I didn't see what's coming, but I was this. That is what you call the everlasting gospel. You're being strict, lost idiots in the setting of psychology by age, because of the body, senior 3s and senior 4s, they are called lost idiots. They believe in their environment, they believe they are very bright more than the parents. So when you tap on them, they can be tough on you. That's the same trend that brought this school to be put on fire. The people wanted to strike by force. And they said it's okay. They beat them in the night, they bought petrol. And they burnt the school. Who lost? The students? No, even the prison cannot catch them in prison. They'll get them out and go to another school. The administrator, you've lost. There are people, there's some guy who knocks, when you're entering the road, the one on the main must continue, so the others have to wait. So, this guy said, no, I'm right. Let them stop. Even the other said, I'm going to hit it. They came and hit each other. Who won? None. The loss went to both. Because even if they repair your car, it never goes back to original. But the point was, I wish I had just stepped in. Just 1 minute. If we do learn this principle in life, let me tell you, you're going to be good people. Some things will not hurt you so much. And Christianity will come out to be better. And every day, as we deal with our friends, in classrooms, in lecture rooms, be good. Don't think that your success, someone must fail. No. Actually, it's very easy to deal when both of you are on the same level. Imagine all of us having a medical camp or an evangelistic meeting. I know from here, Dr. Morach will borrow a leaf from my gift and also give us 2 million. Brother Eric will give us 2 million, actually 6 million. So that we're now looking for the other 4. And we do a one-man camp. No external support. And I want you to imagine each of us doing that whenever you leave. How a work of God moves. Very fast, no burdens. Rahab the harlot becomes in the dignity of Christ. Why? God alone knows what this person is struggling with. I pray you today, someone did you wrong. Forgive the person. And know that there's a big dream to chase. If Joseph had started fighting his own friends, his own brothers, would he have become a prime minister? No. Say, now this is not my battle, this is something very small. We have a spiritual battle. Currently, right now, our budget this year is 48 trillion. Then we shall get the economy collapse. Everyone in our economy, on the budget we are running on, which implies that the calamity, or that what is happening today, is that me and you must be as much as possible careful. Actually, this was a piece of advice. If you don't have necessity, don't borrow money. Yeah. And always important, when you go to the internet, read some things of our country. They have increased the tax for loans on banks, 12%. That's a big thing. 12% rate scheme. A mortgage loan, a car loan, you have a school loan, you have